Hello and welcome to everybody who is joining us live on our first ever Friday evening edition of Teaching and Learning Coffee and Croissant. And what better way to start us off than us looking at a subject which strikes fear into a lot of teachers: how to effectively teach R.S.E, relationships and sex education. And we have got an expert in this field to take you through some really clear strategies that will help you when delivering this content. So without further ado, let me introduce you to the wonderful Jo Hellier. Enjoy.
All right, welcome everybody. Thank you. Good morning. If you do have any questions throughout this session, please do put them in the chat and I'll try my best to answer them. So I'm going to be just going through some of the key content that you're going to be delivering, some of the key strategies that might just help with confidence, with nervousness, with specific students you teach, and I'm going to address some of the concerns that were raised in the staff voice survey that was sent out last week. So just to start with, you should be able to see on the screen now the key areas that we're going to be covering next half term. So you've got the big questions on the left-hand side. Every 2 weeks they change, and then the kind of main areas that we're addressing with each year group. So the first 2 weeks back are, does my online world affect my real world? And for years 7 and 8, that's very much how does the internet affect how we see ourselves? Lots of stuff about body image. They're going to have a look at how magazines might airbrush photos and how that impacts them and their own mental health. For year 9 and 10, this is actually one of the opt-out lessons, although we haven't had any year 9s and 10s opt out of this yet. But we're going to be talking about the impact of porn on perceptions of sex and perceptions of body image. Obviously, it goes without saying we won't be showing them any porn, but we will be discussing it because it's the reality that some of our students will have watched that, will have shared that, and also talking about the glamorization of sexual violence and how that can contribute to it. And it's just really important that we have these discussions with them because, you know, otherwise they are learning it from other means that we might not think are healthy. Weeks 3 and 4 is all about safe sex. With years 7 and 8, we will talk about the laws about sharing images, and we will also talk about the history of the AIDS crisis. At year 7 and 8, they will not be learning about how to put on a condom. It's more about, like, say, the laws that are there to protect them, and what to do if somebody breaks it, and making sure that they don't break it themselves. For year 9 and 10, this is the contraception lesson. In the staff voice survey, it was overwhelmingly felt it would be better to have a video rather than demonstrate how to put on a condom, which we will sort out and make sure is in the planning, and that's reflected. We will still have some of the demonstrators if you feel that your class want to kind of try it out, if you're confident enough. So please do come and get that from Lisa if you would like. We will also talk about choices if things do go wrong with regards to STIs, pregnancy, what they need to do, who they can go to for advice, and what their options are. With weeks 5 and 6, the big question is, can yes ever mean no? This is all about consent. With years 7 and 8, we will talk about consent in all settings. We will talk more broadly about any type of relationship, so healthy friendships, healthy relationships, relationships with older people. What does consent look like? What does the law say? We might talk about toxic friendships, and that covers an element of bullying as well. With year 9 and 10, we will focus more on consent in terms of sex and touching and how they interact with one another. So that's a very brief outline of what you will be teaching. The first 2 lessons for Key Stage 3 are already in the folder if you do want to have a more in-depth look, and they'll be there for year 9 and 10 by the end of the day. So do feel free to have a look and have a contact with me if you do feel nervous about anything. So just moving on to strategies to help you to feel more confident with teaching this. I taught PSHE for the first time about 10 years ago when I was a graduate trainee, which was delightful, with a year 9 tutor group teaching about STIs. Luckily, I had my mentor with me and she was actually really brilliant at this. And she said the key thing to do to feel confident is to set really clear boundaries. And one of the things I remember her saying, which I still quote, is you can ask me any single question. I will try my best to answer it, but I will not tolerate personal questions. And that just set a really clear boundary about what is expected from the children, what's expected from staff, and none of the kids pushed that. They all respected those boundaries, and that was a very similar school to Cumberland as well. We've also ordered some post-it notes. This is a strategy, again, that I've used in previous schools, and it's been really helpful. We will give every single teacher a set of post-it notes, give those out every lesson, just one per pupil, and then at the end of the lesson just get them to write down any questions that they're too embarrassed to ask. If they don't have any questions, just get them to write down I don't have any questions, so it's not obvious who is asking the questions, and then get them to hand it in, and then you can answer those the following lessons. And that should also help with some of the concerns raised in the staff voice was like, oh, I don't know what I will do if I ask a question that I don't know the answer to. That just gives you a little bit of time to kind of find out, talk to me or Lisa, and then follow it up the following week. Lots of concerns as well about addressing silly behaviour, immaturity. Please follow our behaviour system. Period 7 is a lesson like every other in that sense. So please, if they are being really silly, reminder, warning, BIR. However, do just bear in mind that, you know, lots of adults find this stuff quite hard to talk about. They find it quite funny still, even at our ages, and kids are no different. They will probably feel quite nervous, and that might lead to some negative behaviour. Try and be a little bit understanding of that at the same time as having high expectations. Again, a few concerns about SEND. We are differentiating the lessons as much as possible within reason. We are obviously planning 2 lessons every week, so and then a third one for EAL at the moment. It's quite a lot of planning. What I would suggest is you guys know your classes the best. I know some of you are teaching groups that you don't teach. Hopefully you've had a chance to get to know them a bit. Work with their teachers to differentiate your own version of the lesson. Just a quick reminder as well about safeguarding. Some of this stuff might throw up safeguarding issues. I just wanted to remind everybody to do what you're already doing and just, again, follow the safeguarding procedures if anything comes up that you feel concerned about. Make sure you do give them space to talk and ask questions. Again, you can use the post-it note system if anything is too if they're too embarrassed, but you will find that most of our students are very mature about this stuff when they will want to ask questions because they're not learning about it anywhere else. We do cover some stuff in science, we cover some stuff in religious studies, so some of them have talked about contraception before, they've all talked about puberty before, so they do have some prior knowledge in this stuff, which they may bring up with you. Do try and stick to the scientific names for body parts and encourage the pupils to do that as well, and that might also help with the immaturity thing. And just finally, look through lessons in advance. This half term, I've had a few emails at sort of 25 to 3 asking me questions, and I'm teaching all day on a Thursday, so I haven't been able to get to any of them. So please do look through the lessons in advance, and I'll continue the drop-in sessions where I go through the lessons on the Wednesday. Lastly, I want to make sure we finish on time. Lastly, just some feedback from the voice survey that I wanted to share. So I've kind of categorized them into 3 main areas. So lots of people feeling a bit undertrained, feeling unconfident. Thank you for attending this, because that's one way we were hoping to address some of those concerns. like I say, I will continue the Wednesday drop-ins at 3:45 to 4. If it's a clash with anything, I will make sure it's rearranged rather than cancelled. Also, the website I've put on here, and I will share all these slides, is the PSHE Association website. They have loads of materials. If you are feeling nervous, if you want a bit more information, it's all there. So do feel free to check it out. A few people mentioned it might conflict with their own religious and cultural beliefs. Please, in that case, just communicate directly with me and Lisa. We'll see what we can do in terms of staff swaps if you feel really, really, really uncomfortable teaching this and it conflicts with your own religious beliefs. But obviously, we do have a limit to how many staff we can swap with. So just get in touch with us. We'll definitely see what we can do. And there was a general feeling as well that mentors or outside agencies would be better placed to teach groups. Obviously, we would love to be teaching our own tutor groups because we know them the best, but unfortunately, just for this year, we won't be able to do this. And we can't invite outside agencies in still just due to COVID, but hopefully that can return to normality in September.
Thank you very much, Jo. I'm hoping that everyone who watched that out there enjoyed it, found it informative, and it will help you in your practice. We'll be back the first week back after Easter, and if you want to check out anything else about the school before then, please have a look at our Twitter handle at Cumberland E13. I'm Scott Wallace, and I'll see you soon.